and industry leaders, on behalf of Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I, Priya Singh, would like to extend a warm welcome to one and all on today's conclave on future of fund management IIFs in GIFT City.
Mornings, we have a traffic jam here because of full market, but still, I mean, something which we can't help. Just a brief about the chamber before Ashith gets into the theme setting for today's event. The Bombay Chamber, as a lot of you would know, is the oldest chamber in India, set up in 1836. So on 13th of December last year, we celebrated our 189th Foundation Day. And from 1836 till today, the chamber has been in the forefront of looking at every single aspect of how the chamber can help industries grow. Of course, earlier when we started off, there were just limited areas that the chamber was working on. But today, anything which comes in, AIF is an example. The other day we did something on SME REITs and we were the first ones to do that. We had Pramod Rao from SEBI who had come and held 3 sessions with us, and we had a lot of people who were thanking us for taking up this issue. So at every point of time, whatever happens and which is important for the industry, the chamber is at the forefront. Of course, traditionally, taxation, legal have been there for ages together, but something like sustainability, we're the first one to push it. Not only push it among our members, some of them did not require, the big ones did not require any help, but we started pushing it a lot among our MSME members, simply because at some stage we kept on telling them that this will become mandatory. The large organizations will not work with you unless you are sustainability compliant, and we handheld with a lot of people. Today, although Donald Trump believes that D&I is not important, for the chamber it's a very, very important segment. In June we'll do a 3rd D&I awards. Last year we had some 80 odd companies who participated in these awards, and some of the best known companies. This year slightly lesser because a lot of American companies are no longer willing to commit either way. They're not telling us the reason, but that's obvious as to why they are not participating, but we still have very, very big names. So this particular event is under the PE&VC committee. We have a separate PE&VC committee and we have a separate BFSI committee. Ashith Kampani is the chairman of our PE&VC committee, and Tejas Desai is the co-chair, and they have put this together. So the chamber operates via some 22 subject committees, and each one has got the who's who of the corporate world and a mix of MSMEs as well. So they decide the agenda. We're just here to facilitate as to what they tell us to do, and we were doing some 3-4 events. The day before yesterday we had a very, very important session on FDI, which the senior advisor of Ernst & Young, Mr. Sudhir Kapadia, along with Sunil Mathur of Siemens India, were talking about how FDI in India is important, and it was quite relevant because they told us India is the only political stable country right now, and a lot of FDI is expected to come in. Yesterday we had something where someone, SEBI regulation with a very senior expert from Cyril Amachal Mangaldas speaking. In the morning we had something on Cyprus tourism, where the Indian ambassador to Cyprus was here, and today we are having this. So we do almost 120 events in a year on diverse topics, since we are industry agnostic. So in case you or your company is not a member, I would request you to become a member. It's a very small fee, but the kind of knowledge which comes in from the chamber would definitely help you in not only networking, connecting, but a lot of knowledge. With that, I would also like to thank our partners, Clarence, for this event. I would like to invite Priya to take this forward. Sorry.
Thank you so much, sir, for a warm welcome. Now I invite Mr. Ashith Kampani, Chair PE&VC Committee, Bombay Chamber, and Chairman of Cosmic Mandala 15 Group, to please set the theme for today's conclave. Welcome, Mr. Kampani.
Good morning. Today it seems to be a little bit of traffic-less day, so most of the people are on time here. Otherwise, reaching here at 10:30 is sometime a nightmare. A very warm welcome on behalf of Bombay Chambers Private Equity Venture Capital Committee for this entire event. The theme is Future of Fund Management, AIF in GIFT City. It's truly a pleasure to see such a distinguished gathering of professionals, policymakers, fund managers, and thought leaders here today. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our keynote speaker, Ms. Swati Khemani, founder and CEO of Carnelian Asset Management and Advisors, joining us to share her invaluable insights. I also warmly welcome our esteemed panelists and guests with a stellar lineup. I'm confident that today's session will be thought-provoking and solution-oriented. A special thanks to the IFSCA's two gentlemen, Mr. Ramakrishnan and the other gentleman. Sorry, I forgot your name. Amit, for traveling all over from Gandhinagar here to be part of this particular event. Bombay Chamber, the oldest chamber in India, with its long-standing commitment to Mumbai's business ecosystem, continues to serve as a bridge between industry and policy. Our mission, collaborative development towards a Viksit Bharat, is built on a strengthening four foundation pillars: digitalization, ESG integration, ease of doing business, and advancement of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Today's dialogue aligned beautifully with this mission as we cast a spotlight on alternative investment funds and the growing role in the Indian financial evolution. Nowhere is this transformation more evident than GIFT City, India's first operational smart city and pioneering international financial services center. GIFT City is rapidly emerging as a global financial hub, offering a rare combination of advanced infrastructure, regulatory flexibility, and tax incentives that appeal to both domestic and international investors. Over the last few years, this vision has translated into remarkable traction. More than 80 fund managers have established operations here, collectively committing towards upwards of $20 billion under management. Furthermore, over 550 entities are now operational within the GIFT City ecosystem, underscoring its scale and momentum. The IFSC's regulatory framework, particularly with implementation of Fund Management Regulation 2022, has enabled a level of fund structuring freedom and a global investment access that is unmatched in the broader Indian landscape. The ecosystem allows for co-investment opportunities, multi-currency transactions, and full exemption on business income for any 10 years within the 15-year window. These factors make GIFT City an ideal destination for fund managers who are looking to scale portfolios, invest globally, and operate with agility. At the same time, we recognize the importance of navigating the evolving global financial landscape. Shifting regulations, market uncertainties, and the need for strategic foresight make forum like this essential. Your presence and insights today will be key shaping the discourse, identifying opportunities, and fostering collaborative solutions. Our day begins with a keynote address with Ms. Swati Khemani, whose leadership in asset management will set the tone for our deliberation. This will be followed by two high-caliber panels, GIFT AIF Unlocking Inbound and Outbound Investment panels, and Dual Listing in the GIFT City. Both will examine practical and strategic dimensions of the fund management in IFSC context and bring together voices from the regulatory bodies, asset management, laws, and venture capital. I invite all of you to participate actively. My dear friend Viraj Kulkarni also sent me a note, which I'm going to read out. It's heartening to note that initiative to develop an equity market at IFSCA has gained momentum with the signing of the NDA between NSE IX and Cyprus Stock Exchange. This will make a product of NSE IX will be available to the European time zone and at the Cyprus Stock Exchange. This is expected to increase the participation level of Europe. Currently, over 3,000 FPI investors invest from Europe. It will provide European investors to engage in trade in their currency. as well as to provide arbitrage opportunity besides being traded in Singapore and the GIFT City. This was structured and facilitated by PE&VC committee led by Viraj, who is also the Honorary Consul General of Cyprus. We understand the Cyprus Security Exchange is getting into MOU with GIFT City, and the above arrangement is in line with the growing relationship between India and Cyprus. With that, I invite all participants to explore the partnership, envision future fund management, anchored this vibrant, promising, and environment of GIFT City. Over to you, Priya. Thank you.
Round of applause for Mr. Kampani. Thank you, Mr. Kampani. Now I welcome our keynote speaker, Ms. Swati Khemani, founder and CEO, Carnelian Asset Management and Advisor Private Limited, on the dais, please. Round of applause for her. Here I would like to introduce our keynote to our gathering. With 23 years of financial experience, Ms. Khemani exemplifies the important role of the Indian modern professional and empowered women. Her professional journey has taken her to the leading role in equity research, institutional sales, investment banking, client relationship, and human capital management. All of this while raising a family and being an entrepreneur. Along with Mr. Vikas Khemani and Mr. Manoj Behti, she founded Carnelian Asset Management, where she currently holds the key position of managing the overall business and capital management. Her mentoring skills have been instrumental to lay the foundation of strong, cohesive, and winning investment management team. She enjoys a good relationship with the investor and corporate community. Now I request Ms. Khemani to please deliver the keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Ashith. Good morning, esteemed members of the Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. It is an honor to speak here today on a subject that is not only redefining India's financial architecture, but also heralding our nation's ascent as a global financial powerhouse, the future of fund management through AIFs in the GIFT City, which is India's first IFSC. We all know that the GIFT City journey began in 2007 as the bold vision of the then CM of Gujarat and now the PM of our country, Mr. Narendra Modi. Inspired by global financial hubs like Shanghai, New York, London, Singapore, he envisioned a smart future-ready financial city in the heart of India, which would rival with global financial centers. This concept was grand, but as with all transformational ideas and visions of scale and size, it too faced its share of skepticism, uncertainties, structural challenges, and bureaucratic inertia. It wasn't until 2014, when Shri Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister, that this vision finally began taking shape. During his first term, the progress was very, very slow, but a lot of groundwork was done. It was only in the second term that the pieces came together when finally both the state and the central governments aligned in purpose. Decisive action was taken and momentum, visibility was created. Before diving into the specifics of AIFs and fund management, it's important to understand the larger vision and why GIFT City is a game changer. India in the past has made several attempts and efforts to boost and promote manufacturing exports through SEZs, through EOUs, and similarly, models were applied even to the IT industry. Unfortunately, financial services, which is a critical enabler of the economy, never received that level of policy attention until GIFT happened. So in fact, the formation of GIFT City marked a significant acknowledgement of two realities. One, the huge importance of cross-border financial services as a major engine for India's growth, and the urgent need to support this sector with globally competitive policies through tax incentives, simplified disclosure norms, regulatory transparency, and investor confidence similar to the leading international offshore centers. Historically, all of us know that India and international investors used offshore routes. So Luxembourg, Mauritius, Singapore, Ireland, these were some of the most popular destinations. However, some of these routes, particularly to the likes of Mauritius, did not, was not viewed with great credibility. It was particularly viewed as with sensitivity, raising a lot of concerns, over money laundering, tax evasion, regulatory arbitrage, and market integrity. I think Gift City has changed the game. It has brought home those transactions in a transparent, credible, and a scalable ecosystem. We must also not forget that gift by itself is a huge economy in a city of opportunity, whether it is through job creations, infrastructure creation, and the entire growth which is associated, which India was losing out to the other offshore centers. With gift, I'm confident that we are not just building a financial hub, but a thriving city where people would like to live, work, and prosper. Now let's take a step back and look at the broader canvas of where our nation's journey is going. Prime Minister Modi's introduction of Amrit Kal, a 25-year vision leading to 2047, sets a very bold and inspiring target to transform India to a developed economy. This vision is not just aspirational. In fact, it is rooted in history and ambition. There was a time, all of us know, right? India was called Sone ki Chidiya. India commanded almost a quarter of the world's trade that was happening then. Unfortunately, it shrank down to almost 2% through all the colonial rule that India faced. Today, again, we are on a path of reclaiming our place rightfully on the global stage. As Amrit Kal unfolds, here's what we can expect over the next 20 years. India's share today in global trade is about 3-4%, which will go to 16%. GDP, which is currently about $3.74 trillion, will go to $30 trillion. Our per capita income, which today is about $2,600, is expected to go to $18,000. And our market cap, which is about $4 to $5 trillion, is expected to go to $45 trillion. This means our entire economy and the markets will grow 7 to 10 times within this period of Amrit Kal until 2047. Now, unsaid, this will come with massive opportunity and responsibility, especially for the financial services sector. And we've already witnessed, in the recent few years, how exchanges, brokerages, wealth management companies have, been scaling and thriving. But this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of an iceberg. I think GIFT will emerge as a vital pillar in India's rise during this Amrit Kal period. And it won't just be a hub for transactions, but it will be a thriving ecosystem that reflects the ambition of New India. Now let us get into some details of, what the GIFT City is. See, there is no doubt that the GIFT City was always envisioned to be since its outset as a world-class financial hub with top-tier infrastructure and a global ambition. But the real turning point only came in with the formation of IFSCA, the International Financial Services Centre Authority. This was the moment that was transformative in India's international financial landscape. It is similar to how when SEBI was established in 1992 and it changed the whole face of the capital markets, same is what I think IFSCA will do to the cross-border transactions and making it a global financial hub. So following the creation of IFSCA, we saw real momentum picking up. There were a lot of long pending structural and regulatory issues, many of which had been stuck simply because of bureaucratic inertia. They all finally began to move. It brought about that kind of bold, decisive action, which was long needed, long pending, and a lot of clarity and confidence to investors and institutions who had been waiting to, experience that or hear about it. Some of the great benefits, of course, we all know today are like 100% tax exemption for a period of 10 years out of 15, no GST on services within the IFSC as well as for offshore clients, a 9% minimum alternate tax, which is extremely low, right, amongst one of the lowest in the world, and with exemptions under the new regime which is available. There is no PAN and TDS requirement also for certain set of NRIs and foreigners. These incentives have drawn a lot of attention, and as of March 24 last year, there were almost 124 units which were registered out of the GIFT City, and they are managing a commitment of $36 billion. The city now hosts almost 80 fund managers, including all the top asset management companies such as Carnelian, Nuvama, Motilal, DSP, Mirae, Aditya Birla. All these have set up their offices there. Why is it that these fund managers are then choosing the GIFT City? of course, first and foremost, lower operational costs, including real estate and talent acquisition. And there are stable and globally aligned regulations. And of course, proximity to the Indian markets cannot be undermined. GIFT City also offers unparalleled access to NRIs and foreign investors to invest directly in USD, bypassing the need to convert into INR. Indian investors also can similarly invest overseas through the banking units, IFSC banking units under the RBI's LRS scheme. Families, family offices, high net worth individuals, institutional investors, all these have access to tailored offerings like AIFs, PMSs, REITs, and more importantly, there are no sectorial caps for offshore investors. So as of March 2024, there are about 1,300 plus AIF registered and 1560 schemes, with GIFT hosting a majority of these CAT3 AIF funds. In fact, over the last year, CAT3 AIFs have gone up by 79%, and CAT2 AIFs have recorded a 7-year CAGR of 51%. Larger names like Bloom Ventures, Stride Ventures have raised funds and deployed them in the GIFT City as well. So it is not just a hub for fund management, but it has evolved as a multi-layered financial ecosystem with 2 international exchanges doing almost 30 billion of volumes in daily trading. We have the international bullion, the first international bullion exchange. Almost 35 fintech companies are present there. 25,000 skilled professionals are employed. All major banks, global and Indian, are present there. Foreign university campuses contributing to talent and innovation. Additionally, it also supports the system with fund administrators, the custodians, legal and tax advisors. Plus, it has streamlined fund registration with a single window clearance. So just makes things much more easier to do, and also access to global markets in USD or in Euro with a liberalized forex regime. So these are the things which got developed, with the regulator coming in. So now what is the bigger picture that we are looking at? What is the real potential of the GIFT City, after all these initiatives which have been undertaken? So today, if I look at some of the other centers, like say for example, Cayman. So Cayman Island has almost, as of last year, they had almost 30,000 investment funds which were registered there, out of which almost, I think about 17,000 were private funds and 13,000 mutual funds. Together, all these put together, they manage funds in excess of $8 trillion. And this has become a haven for, offshore hedge funds and the private equity markets. Why so that it is such a popular destination? Of course, I think 2-3 things that any fund manager would like to see is, tax neutrality and sophistication of the regulatory framework. So any fund manager who is looking at flexibility and scalability, for him, this is, a natural, place that he would want to set up a shop in. Again, if you look at Hong Kong, another example, it is a global financial center and, of course, plays a pivotal role in offshore RMB, activities, handling more than 75% of mainland China's trade transactions. This city also boasts of, unrestricted capital flows, common legal system, and a favorable tax regime, which has, reinforced its status as a premier international finance center. So, but despite the strong momentum with which GIFT City has started, I think there are certain challenges which still, come up time and again and which need address. First and foremost being, continued clarity in tax regulation harmonization, positioning and marketing of GIFT City at par with, the other leading centers, simplifying investor onboarding process, and most importantly, we also need to build an independent judicial system along the lines of international court. I think setting up of IFSCA was the first step. There will always be continuous, continuous reforms which will make this institution much, much stronger and this city thriving. It is important to remember that every center takes time to reach its full potential, right? Now, like I said earlier, that IFSCA will play a role what SEBI did to capital markets. SEBI didn't transform the entire market overnight. It was, a stable, steady, persistent effort. And today what we see capital markets, has built depth, maturity, credibility. It is all a result of one strong independent regulator coming there and taking charge of things. So I think IFSCA will do the same for the GIFT City, and I genuinely believe over the next 10, 15 years, it will become indispensable for global finance. There will be no asset manager who is looking either to invest into India or out of India can afford to overlook this offshore center of excellence which is getting shaped in Gujarat. I would just like to end by saying that in the last 10 years, India has undergone a huge change, mindset shift change, if I can say so. Namely, first is India is thinking exponential from incremental. So our sense of urgency has completely changed the pace and speed of execution. Secondly, India is thinking unconstrained. No longer we think in terms of constraint of resources or with a constrained mindset. Every ministry, every company in their own might is thinking of creating and building world-class, tech-enabled world-class, what is best in these times. Thirdly, I think we have become very self-dependent and rather independent. Historically, we would always be looking at the West or copying the West for solutions for problems which were inherent to us. That is no longer the case. Now we find solutions to our own problems which are unique to us, which are innovative and technologically enabled. And lastly and more importantly, in the geopolitical scheme of things, India stands tall in the global forum. When UPI was introduced a couple of years ago, I think there were a lot of naysayers. But today, when we look at it in the hindsight, benefit of hindsight, we know it is an unparalleled infrastructure which the government of India created at a fraction of a cost and immensely benefiting citizens as well as the economy. To my mind, the GIFT is a similar infrastructure initiative which most were skeptic about when it was, spoken about, but it is an idea whose time has finally arrived. And I think in fullness of time, this will be admired and cherished as an enabler of growth of financial services, fund management industry, and more importantly, the Indian economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khemani, for this impactful speech and outlining the significance of today's discussion. Thank you so much. Now I request our DG, Mr. Sandeep Khosla, to please present a memento to Ms. Keynote Speaker as a token of our appreciation. Once again, one round of applause for our keynote speaker. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.